Public service announcement. Listen up, listen up, listen up. If you are trading or investing in Nvidia, Palantir, or Coinbase, ticker symbol NVDA, PLTR, or COIN, you are going to want to listen to this video. And in fact, if you're trading the overall market, such as the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100, or even the Russell 2000, you are very much going to want to pay attention because a little bit of chaos, and by a little bit, I mean a lot of volatility, is about to hit the market, and there's a lot of things you need to know. For those of you returning to the channel, you already know the spiel, but if you happen to be new, well, welcome to the channel. Here, we're going to dive into the stats, facts, and figures of what's going on with the overall market and some of our favorite equities. Of course, sometimes it is important to follow the narrative of what's going on with the story, but I find a lot of the times that just leads to gut feel. And a lot of those times, it's those empirical numbers, those things that we can measure that in reality determine if we end up making money on the trade or if we lose money. With all that in mind, and now that I've added a little bit more framework to this particular video, it's about to go down. And I don't really mean the market, of course it might, but what I'm talking about is we have a big day coming up. Tomorrow, Friday, September the 19th, is referred to as Quadruple witching. This is a very exciting event in the stock market. I like to think of it as a holiday, but it happens 4 times a year, basically at the end of every quarter. You get it in March, June, September, and December. So not only is it a Friday expiration in the options market, but it also happens to be the monthly and the quarterly. And then when that happens, it also means that you have some futures contracts expiring, and that's where it gets its name, Quadruple witching. You have 2 different types of stocks and indice options expiring, and also 2 different types of stocks and indice futures expiring. So maybe you've never heard of this before, or maybe you just need a refresher, but what in the world does this mean? Is it bullish? Is it bearish? Come on, tell me, what gives? Well, here's what you need to know. Historically, it is not associated with bullishness or bearishness, but it is associated with higher levels of volatility. And that's because since all these contracts are expiring, that means a lot of people need to make a lot of decisions. Do they want to lock in a winner, a loser? Do they want to roll it? Do they want to do something else? It's basically because a lot of decisions have to be made that you see a lot of volatility. Obviously, if I knew it was definitively going to be bullish or bearish, well, in reality, I'd probably be a very rich man, and I'd most likely not be making this video. But let me tell you this, because I am that nerdy guy who studied all the data, especially related to this event, the bulls and the bears, they win about 50% of the time. It all comes down to the fact that you need to be prepared for larger ranges. And beyond that, there are a couple other things you can do to be prepared for the chaos that is coming. Number 1, you can hit the like button. I don't know if that's going to help you with your trading, but hey, it make me feel a little bit better. Number 2, you could understand where the market is coming from. As of market close today, Thursday, S&P 500, small cap Russell, closed at all-time highs a day after the Fed rate cut. If you missed that, yesterday, Wednesday, we did get a 25 bips rate cut, and as of now, the market is holding up pretty nicely. The S&P 500, higher highs, higher lows, strong momentum, and closing in a new all-time high. Same thing on the NASDAQ, higher highs, higher lows, highest close ever, and also a record. Same thing here in the Russell. We did just manage to break a new record right here at close, barely making a record. But once again, a record is a record. Higher highs, higher lows, strong momentum. And even though it didn't make a record high, hey, a little bit of a shout out to Bitcoin as well. Strong inverse shoulder, head shoulder, decent follow through, and not that far from the all-time high as I'm filming this currently, halfway through 117,000. So that's the larger picture. That's the daily chart. If you want to know what happened intraday, well, we dropped a little, then we popped, and we kind of did nothing for the entire day in the SPY, the Qs, and Bitcoin. The Russell did rip all day, so that is obviously pretty exciting. In terms of boring price action, not much was different in terms of options flow. A lot of it, as it has been, is dominated by 0 DTE flow. We popped up and we dropped, nothing really happened. Same thing in the Mag 7, a little bit more bearish, but once again, this is all shorter term stuff. So please remember that. The Mag 7, not so exciting. S&P 500, not so exciting. I think I did find 3 different interesting potential trade setup opportunities that you need to know of. And like I said, if you are paying attention to Coinbase, Palantir, or Nvidia, you're very much going to want to listen up. Let's kick it off with Coinbase because it had a beautiful gain of 7%. Whenever it comes to me and my trading, I like to consider a wide array of things. First of all, price structure, followed by momentum, followed by option flow, and last but not least, obviously, risk and reward. So if we look at what is going on through that framework in Coinbase, all right, we had a big pop, we pulled back, we had a big phase of accumulation, and now it looks like we might be breaking out. So we went from a bullish trend to a little bearish consolidation, and now a new trend might be starting. That's price structure. Then looking at momentum, well, if you look at price, it's on top of all the major EMAs. And the final thing we need to check out is what in the world is going on with options. And you can see this is way stronger than what we saw in both the Mag 7 and the S&P 500 all day. So bucking the trend, looking very strong. And for those of you who want to know kind of the interesting levels, well, don't forget Coinbase is trading around 342, at least at the time that I'm filming this. We have big support at 335 and at 340, initial target at 350. And beyond that, we have a high vol point all the way up at 370. So when I put all those numbers together, a pretty close support, upside gap fill from a point of technicals, and we also have interesting bets for the high vol point, I'm liking the risk and reward as well. Next up, Palantir. I should also clarify, these are in no particular order. It's just how I ended up putting them on my screen today. Once again, looking at the price structure, higher highs, higher lows, pullback, consolidation, and we started to break to the upside. This one, I'm going to be honest with all of you, especially if you're in the Goonie Trading Discord, you know that this was a dagger in my heart. I started playing this on Tuesday the 9th. It broke up. Looking good. I got stopped out of my position yesterday with the craziness of the FOMC meeting just for it to start ripping again today. Honestly, I want to share it with you because I believe this is a very good opportunity, but I'll be the first to admit I completely fumbled this opportunity. Anyway, strong price structure, strong momentum, and once again, look at the options flow, way stronger than what we saw in the overall market. Palantir currently trading at 177. You can see that it's trying to break above this resistance at 175. And if it does, it almost seems as if it's clear sailing up to 185 based on the current options setup. And last but not least, we have Nvidia. This one's a little bit different. Obviously, this is the belle of the ball. This is the golden child of the stock market. At least it was up until halfway through August, where we kind of went sideways, a little down, maybe some lower highs, some lower lows. Well, officially now we might be turning around. Of course, I'm watching this trend line, and this is a nice setup because it hasn't happened yet. So I hope you are watching this video in time. But I'm looking at this lower high and higher low setup. That's by definition consolidation, and I'm wondering if we're about to knock on the door of a breakout and really take out 180. Of course, we're on top of all the EMA, so strong momentum, and you should also know, same thing, look at that options flow, very, very strong, and also in terms of targets of where we could go, don't forget, it's trading at 176. Well, we're at the point where, okay, got above that, we're right here at this high vol point. So that's kind of interesting because from here, if it can hold it in terms of support, we might be talking 180, maybe even 185. But with all this, as we are looking at Nvidia, as we're looking at Palantir, as we're looking at Coinbase, with all this structure, please do not forget that tomorrow we have quadruple witching, which means a lot of these plays could shift. And if they start to shift, when we're starting to see a little bit of a follow through, a little bit of a follow through, and a little bit of a follow through, it can actually restructure it in a way where that potential reward gets even higher. So of course, yeah, there are stories that people are going to lean into, and I'm sure you've heard about them. Nvidia throws Intel a lifeline that should be a boon to investors in both chip makers. Intel surges 22% after Nvidia says it will invest $5 billion in the chip maker and co-develop data center and PC chips. I agree. It can be important to follow the narratives and the stories of these companies. But I believe as a short-term trader, day trader, scalp trader, or even a swing trader, it's much more important to pay attention to price structure, the momentum, and the option setup. When you put all those together, see if you can identify a low risk, high reward setup. And this game of active trading is just doing that again and again with proper risk sizing, proper leverage, and really just being patient. But I just want to let you know, because I saw something odd here. As the overall market and really the Mag 7 was kind of not really exciting, we saw a big pop to the upside in Coinbase, Palantir, and Nvidia. So if you're in those right now, I'd kind of want to give you an early congrats because this setup is looking beautiful. That's what I have for you. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know in a comment below. I'll do my best to get back to all of you. I appreciate all the good vibes. And obviously, good luck with quadruple witching.
Peace.